Good day and welcome to the issues with me, Irbad Ibrahim. It is often said that a nation that does not know its history becomes clueless about the kind of future path it wants to chart for itself. Therefore, we can't forget the towering figures that lay the cornerstone of this great republic of ours. Today we are discussing one of such important statesmen, SD Dombo, former Health and Interior Minister in the government of former Prime Minister Busia. And there couldn't have been a better person to help us discuss this issue than General Secretary of the ruling MPP in the Ashanti region, Mr. Sampine. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You were so eloquent and wonderfully spoken when we discussed the government of Busia the other day.
Yeah.
But today we are discussing one of his ministers and one of the founding fathers of the UP tradition, SD Dombo. In person, what can you say briefly about the persona SD Dombo?
Thank you very much. And SD Dombo, you know our tradition of the new part of the party. We have the Danquah, Busia, Dombo. The local folks do the pronunciation Dombo. So when I stray to Dombo, you need to understand me.
That's fine.
It's a man who was born in 1923 in the now Upper West region. He formed the Northern People's Party, then became the leader, won a seat in Parliament. The Northern People's Party also had several seats in Parliament then. Then the formation of the United Party, that is the UP, was so instrumental with the help of the late Bafo Akuto, Dr. J.B. Danquah, and the rest of those who were leading the opposition then in the early 50s. They formed the United Party. You see, the persona, an understanding person, he had majority as an opposition member and therefore could have been the leader of the United Party. But he never looked at his ego or his position. He let it go and gave the leadership position to the late Professor K. Busia. Now, as you rightly said, in 1969, during the Busia administration, he was appointed an interior minister and functioned as such. He was also the member of parliament for Jirapa Lambusie, if I pronounced it correctly. That he was the member of parliament for that. So he was a kind fellow, a Catholic, so religious, and so down to earth, loved by his people. And the name Domo, when you go to that area, the Jirapa Lambusi areas now, you still will understand why he was a gem. And we are so proud of him as a political entity, the background, the rich experience that he brought on board to form the United Party and to give us that great tradition.
Sam, you said he came from the Upper West region. Would I hazard a guess that he was Wala or Sisala or Dagari?
He was Dagari. He was Dagari.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it means that even in the northern part of the country, the UP tradition...
Yeah, that is what makes it important for us to discuss. I usually do not want to stray into ethnic politics. But if you look at how people have been terming the United Party and its offsprings, including the MPP as an account party, when you look at the formation of the UP and the role the Northern People's Party played, it tells a clear story that yes, the MPP as it is now is not an account party per origination, but rather owned by our good friends and brothers and sisters from the northern parts, and therefore the UP tradition is broad-based, cutting across all the divides. You look at the Amigashis and the rest from the voter regime, and you come to a good conclusion. The Obetebilante, the Ames and the rest, then you look at the backgrounds and the rest from the central and western regions who came together. You see that it was a broad-based political entity that comprised all ethnic groupings within the country.
Okay, we'll look at his educational background, and when we spoke about Professor K.A. Busia, you had fond memories of his encounter with your father at that time and all that. Maybe because of distance in geography and location, you might have not had the opportunity to have any personal encounter with Dombo. But where did he study? What was his background, and how did he end up?
He was an educationist. He was an educationist, post-secondary certificated teacher, did further studies, and basically was very interested in, apart from doing politics, very interested in helping educate the people of his place and in Ghana. So in summary, he was an educationist.
An educationist teaching what? And when you say he sought further education, do you mean he charted the same path that K.A. Busia did? He went to the UK as well?
Well, he did not go to the UK. He was here, entered politics very early, and as a teacher, did further course in education in Ghana here. But he did not travel per the history that I've read about him. And as you rightly said, I never had any personal interaction as I did with Dr. Busia through my old man. I did not see him as a very close friend. But really the stories and the history that we all read. So he went to the college schools, graduated as a teacher, did some further work as in education, and taught for some years before he went into full-time politics and became a minister in the Busia administration.
Sam, I'll play the devil's advocate a little bit. Would you be presumptuous to say that within the Danquah, Busia, Dombo tradition, in terms of educational pedigree or academic, credentials, and Dombo was the weakest link?
No, he wasn't that. You see, in politics, it's not always about the big degrees that you have. It's about what you bring on board. It's about the knowledge you have. Locally, when you go to the palaces and where we have your traditional leaders, they do not look at you being a professor or a PhD or a second degree holder, a degree holder. They look at how you've been trained, the common sense that you have, how you approach issues and what you bring on board. Mr. Dombo, the late, never had those professorship and doctorate degrees and the rest, but he was so influential, a personality that when you met him, the intellect that he exhibited, the knowledge that he exhibited, the commitment and patriotic zeal in him made him an outstanding fellow. So he was never a weak link there at all.
And maybe I'll ask this final question before we take comments by former President J. Kufuor and others on who Mr. Dombo was. So what made him stand out? If he didn't have the degrees, would you say he was charismatic or he was a rabble rouser so you could stand out from the pack?
I'm talking about rabble rousing. That wasn't there. It's not a treaty in the United Party. He was charismatic, as rightly said, pulled people along, had views to share, and espoused a lot of knowledge, and therefore that made him who he was and what has been him up to this time. That we read his history and we use him as an epitome of somebody who really needed to be glorified.
Okay, we are still in the studios with Mr. Sam Pine, General Secretary of the ruling MPP.
Regional Secretary
for the ruling MPP, Ashanti region. And we'll go for a short insight on the fond memories President J. Kufuor and others have shared about Mr. S.D. Dombo. Those that can stay with us, we'll be back shortly.
I believe our society should go back and make history a mainstream course in all our schools. It's there that we know where we are coming from, for us to know where we are seriously now, so we can then project forward where we want to go. As we've got a proud history in many ways throughout the country. I was fortunate enough to have seen people like Chief Dombo I've spoken about, J. Brahman of Goja, Yakubu Tali of Tatomba, C.K. Chadam, Paga and around, Mumuni Dimbie, I think around Tumu area, and then around Boko with people like Moro Salifo and all those great men. Baumia, who started as Northern people, later defected to CPP from Maprisi, smart man. His son is the current vice president. I saw them, and I tell you, you meet them, you'll be bound to respect them. Because they were nation builders, and if we've got people like them, why shouldn't we learn about them so that the youth of today and of posterity would come to know where the beginnings of Ghana of today came from?
When we found the Northern People's Party, it was on Dombo. He brought the slogan which we took, and our slogan and our symbol, the political party symbol, like the CPP program, we had clenched fists. United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. And that has been the philosophy which is true for our party today. And you see, that's why our party has gone through all the odds. But whichever way, when we fall, we learn to rise. If you don't fall, you won't even know when you fall you can rise. We fall, we rise. We fall, we rise. And we are trying to stabilize democracy in Ghana so that stability will make everybody to have his free say, but allow the majority to have their way reasonably.
He was a father to everybody, and he would advise you to do the right thing, and he did his best to help as much as he could. We'll remember him for that. He was a great one, and he had the battle with hands, and he worked so hard for independence, and we still remember him for that.
Chief Samuel Dombo, was well celebrated. I mean, I don't think we have another chief in our great library. He was wonderful, open-hearted, and prepared to go any length for the benefit of the poor in the society. He did that with a lot of zeal and pleasure, and I was delighted to have an icon like him.
Was full of praise, a good teacher, and he would listen like he's not listening, and if he saw some good in you, occasionally tapping on the back end, encourage you, and that's how the relationship developed. And then when I was given a bungalow to live in, the Deputy Foreign Minister, it turned out that the very next house to mine, incidentally that's where President Rawlings lives now, that place in the red, was Dombo's place. And right in front of this thing, again my bungalow is part of the Rawlings outfit along the Independence Street. That's where I lived, Dombo lived next door. Then after him was Big Adam. So we got to relate did quite well. Got to know some of his family members, the children.
He was among the elders of the UP in Northern region. And he involved in politics. One of the elders in the family. And because of Dombo, SD Dombo, my father, I can't see myself in this no matter what, because I was among one of the women from the north that they got into the party, and we worked so hard to build the party in the north, to build UP then in the north.
He took care of all of us.
He was a father to everyone.
Dombo should have been a natural leader because
he supported the development of agriculture.
A political leader, even from his early days in the school.
He sacrificed his position.
Dombo helped to bring unity.
He wasn't easily shaken.
He was seriously Dombo. He took me to school.
Success is partly.
You're welcome back. We are still in the studios with Honorable Sampine, Regional Secretary for the ruling party, the MPP in Ashanti. Just gone by were, some words of, I would say, praise for Chief Dombo by leading members of the UP tradition. And from where you sit, was Chief Dombo the kind of person who could cause any tectonic shifts in the policy direction of the UP, or he just jumped onto the bandwagon? And President Jokofo was saying he was someone who could politely disagree on certain issues with you. But how could he have done that?
Yeah, I told you that you asked a question about his educational background, and I told you he came on board with lots of common sense. And when he disagrees with you on matters, it wasn't the boisterous type that will use the bronze instead of the brains. He will ask you about matters. We'll give you his views on that or his side of the story. And that in disagreement, you come to a conclusion. So he was the type who could bring on board people, even though he was the leader of the Northern People's Party that had majority seats upspread opposition. He had to let go his position as leader and gave it then to Busia. That wasn't a sign of a person who was weak, but rather somebody who wanted to build a foundation. Okay, yes, something that he needed to do to make sure that yes, power is captured from the CPP then. So he's the kind of person that you like to work with, as former President Kufuor said, will tell you what he needs to tell you, but in a very polite, intelligent manner.
Okay, and the Northern People's Party, not too many people know about their political ideology. How was the UP able to subsume their ideology into what was seen as the larger universal set that gave us the UP? What were the similarities and what were the differences they had to iron out?
But you see, they don't have much differences. We're all then in opposition. The National Liberation Movement, NLM, and the Northern People's Party, the alliances from the water ring, all of these parties had a common agenda, and that agenda was that now they needed the development of Ghana, the independence of Ghana, as to go gradually, but not as pushed by the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So they had a similar thing. They also believed in that the ideals of the can I say the MPP now, that yes, people should develop in freedom, and therefore towing the idea of, in quotes, capitalism, that property should be owned by the self through legitimate means. So they have similar mindset to fight for liberation of the people of Ghana on a certain line of making sure that yes, let's do it gradually. When we get there, they will know that we've built a very good foundation so that we wouldn't crumble at the end of it all. So they have similar ideas.
Our beautiful political history is sometimes punctuated by moments of persecution. Was Chief Dombo persecuted by anybody at any point in time?
After the 66 school, right? School. Okay. All of them were not safe. The then system saw them as being a part of those who were against. But the Free File Kotoka coup was also against the then establishment, that's the CPP, and therefore they felt a little safe. But after that, well, they were not given much. After the 72 coup by Champong, he wasn't given that much recognition by the then establishment, and he was into oblivion for some time. But he was still a man on chieftaincy, loved by his people, did what he felt was good to raise the standards.
So I can see you are being a bit coy, but spill the beans where you have to some. Dr. Nkrumah didn't have any history with Chief Dombo, did he?
As an individual, no. But as a system, it was targeted against all leading members of the then opposition.
Was he detained at any point in time?
The history that I read, I don't see. I never saw his name in it, but I believe that he wasn't even happy sleeping in his own home.
And my producer said at some point he shared the same prison facility with former Jerry Rawlings and Chairman President Kufuor at that time. Yeah, he said President Kufuor was also jailed.
When after the 69, 72 coup, some of them were picked up. The government functionaries, including the former President Kufuor, were picked up. My father was even picked up at one point.
But the detention was short-lived, you would say. You wouldn't even call it incarceration.
Well, even the days of incarceration, losing your freedom, not enjoying your children's free on your own, or with some people, that wasn't the best of things.
Okay, you indicated the UP is this mammoth alliance and Northern People's Party alliances from the Volta region and also the NLM. But you are talking about a bitter ever after between some sections of the Northern People's Party with Kotoka and Frifa after 66. Why did things turn sour when they were both on all fronts fighting against the CPP, which was the establishment at the time?
No, they never had issues with the Kotoka and Frifa, the coup. The issues came up more after the 72.
So Ignatius Champong had a problem with
because he felt them to be part of the same tradition. And so, after forming the United Party, that brought in the Progress Party, they were all part of that great team, and therefore whatever that they felt was against them, they were considered as a collective whole, and that's what brought about it. But they had issues with the CPP administration, and therefore whatever caused persecution or whatever intimidation, they were all in the soup together.
We always hear this cliche, Sam, declassified CIA documents pointing to the fact that there was some collusion at some point against the government of Dr. Nkrumah. Can you trace any vestige of any collaboration of some sort between Dombo and any external powers that led to the overthrow of Dr. Nkrumah?
You see, especially when you talk about personalities with CPP background, they always want to write the history of the United Party and the people affiliated to that tradition as working with the CIA to get Nkrumah overthrown. But I don't have any evidence to that effect. Now, some of the documents that we were privy to read online and the rest never mentioned the actions of Chief Dombo and some of these personalities. It could have been somebody's own imagination to also write another history for the country, or to make a tradition look bad in the eyes of the people of the nation. But personally, and from all the literature that I've read, I never saw any collusion or whatsoever between the CIA and elements of the United Party.
Okay, Chief Dombo, leader, parliamentarian or legislator, leader of the Northern People's Party, of course, after Ignatius took over through a coup d'etat, government and parliament was dissolved. So what became of his political ambition just after Ignatius Echampo had taken over the reins of government?
Yeah, he went into his home as a traditional leader, as an opinion leader, as a businessman, and that's the life that he lived till his death.
Okay, and you said he was worried a few times by the government of Echampo.
Yeah, you see,
he had quietly, called back into traditional
when the 13th January coup was targeted against the Progress Party and their affiliates. So moreover, he was an interior minister, a health minister. So definitely, being an interior minister during that time, every organization that comes in will want to pick on you. Interior minister, you have some secrets about the establishment then. And that's my belief. That's what maybe motivated the National Redemption Council to pick me up as being a part of the Progress Party.
We have on the phone, so I'll come back to you shortly, Thomas Quat, a senior citizen who worked within the inner circles of Chief Dombo. Sir, thank you so much for making time.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
You worked quite closely, one would literally say, within the bosom of S.D. Dombo. What can you share about your personal interaction with that important statesman of those days, so to speak?
Well, I feel that I count myself as being one of the very, very lucky young men who came up very early. The history of the Gokos as we knew it, it was through many Professor Busia that I got to know Chief Dombo very, very early. I happened to have been outside this country studying before we go independence. But I knew Dombo was one of the key pillars in the position at that particular time. I knew him to be very close to Professor Busia. The difference between the Dombo and Busia link was a question of trust. Trust that existed between Professor Busia and Chief Dombo. Indeed, I returned to Ghana in '66, the same day with Professor Busia. And among the very first people he introduced us to was Chief Dombo. He was living at Kaneshi in his private residence at that time. There was a man on politics, nobody dared talk about politics at that time. There were problems. There were people within the opposition who were not very happy that Busia would come back and lead the party. And John Westmead, the king among them, I remember very well, was what is it? This person who married Christian daughter, Apia.
Are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. And very often it became necessary for Professor to find somebody he trusted to go keep the strongholds to do personal investigations and report back to him. And on these sensitive assignments, to take me along with him to do the investigations and report back to Busia. The strength, as I said, existed between the two of them was trust. They trusted each other. They believed in the sacrifices that were made during the days when nobody could say anything without getting into trouble. Yes.
Of course, then you were a trusted confidant of Dombo, and also, from what you are saying, you served as an intermediary between the two key figures. Can you share what the most dangerous of your engagement was, especially during the trying times?
Well, honestly, I didn't see us doing anything, plotting anything sinister. So I wasn't doing anything against the law. I was not afraid of anybody. We had returned home. We were hoping for a brighter day when we could all get into politics again. I heard the interview with Sampine, and the interviewer asked him Sampine about a possible collusion outside with the CIA. This was a story that was fabricated by the CPTC people. I was very close with Professor Busia. I would say that the student group in Chicago, they call the Chicago Boys, were instrumental in getting Busia accepted by the black community in the U.S. Busia believed that if we can get Ghanaians to know the difference between democracy and to work in the truth, a time will come when democracy will speak for itself and there will be no coup happening at that particular time and so on and so forth. South Africa wanted him to say yes to use a military mission against Nkrumah. Busia said no. He didn't believe in that. So he was a peaceful man. He believed that Ghanaians themselves will find that what was going on in the country will not be good, and they will rise up at one time. And if they do, then it's in circumstances of the day that they will dictate the action of the people.
Okay. And Tom, one hallmark of Professor Busia was that he was a writer, and only a few days ago I had the opportunity to visit his house, and I had a good interaction with Monica and his son Yao. I was shown some of the personal artifacts he had. If Prof was noted for scholarship, what would you say we should remember Dombo for?
Dombo's humility, his love for people, his passion to do something for the poor. One thing that he regretted very much was that he did not have the opportunity to help his own people up north. He believed that agriculture would be the solution. And he told me one of the things he wanted us to do for him was in livestock. He said there was an area called William. It's a great area, and if I could do anything for him at all, was to work towards building a livestock in his area for a land he said he was going to set aside called William. 1971, I happened to have been in Italy as a guest of ANSA, and I had the opportunity to visit the agricultural sector of Italy. The farmers were very much impressed that a young man like me talking about trying to do something for my people, particularly in livestock, and they got the government to promise giving Ghana some Frisian cattle to go and start dairy cattle for that Busia would have put in the Dombo area. Unfortunately, the coup prevented that from happening. If I have anything to do, at 86, I'm very, very active, doing a different kind of politics, farming. We want to establish a Busia, Dombo, and Danquah tradition heritage in the north through agriculture, and this is going to happen.
And so we are beginning to wrap up the interview. For younger Ghanaians like me and some millennials who have actually not turned 20, but for the constant mention of Dombo by the MPP, maybe all his good works would have just vanished into thin air. As a close confidant as you were with him, have you been thinking of writing down a biography that would tell a holistic story about who that towering figure was?
I'm going to do more than just simply write or even talk about it. I'm going to demonstrate what Dombo wanted to do physically through agriculture by bringing the youth into agriculture. That is what I have sworn to do. I'm hoping for an opportunity to meet the current paramount chief from the north who is coming here perhaps in the middle of December, and I intend to have a meeting with him.
Okay, and thank you so much, Thomas Quarton, a senior citizen and a close confidant of Chief Dombo. Thank you so much, sir, for making time.
There's so much the youth can do. And at AFC, I'm so championing the cause of the youth. And we will succeed.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Even at 86, all his senses are quite sharp, quite eloquent and well spoken. So therefore, don't you think, Sam, that more needs to be done to refute the allegation that anybody connected with Professor Busia had anything to do with the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah?
That's what I was saying some moments ago, that people possibly want to rewrite the history of Ghana. People possibly want to paint some personalities as being anti the independence struggle, and therefore they will throw you stories. Because of all the literature that I've read on the 66 school, there's nowhere that you find the names of these personalities. Yeah, they may have been outspoken persons, people who wish to tell the world what was going on. It's a fact that Dr. Danquah, J.B. Danquah and the rest were incarcerated against their wish or their will. The late Mr. Lamtes, all of these people. So if people would speak to the world on these matters, and you think they are agents, they were agents of the Western world, it's so painful. But now even the story is changed. You now see us, even those who were very much against the system then, now the closest of friends to the United States and to the British.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Sam. We have another senior citizen on the phone. Mr. Siki Tedam is a leading member of the NPP,
the chairman
of the Council of Elders, and then he was a classmate to Dombo and also a parliamentarian in the government of Professor Busia. Sir, thank you so much for making time.
Okay.
Sir, I think your words are scanty and we wouldn't wear you out too much. In brief, what can you share with the good people of Ghana about your experience with Chief Dombo?
Chief Dombo was a very great man at his time. Dombo was the leader of the Young People's Party, chosen by us through everybody. Chief Dombo was somebody who had all his interests, politics. He was born as a son of a chief and grew up, and we went to school around the same time. He was born in 1923, I was born in 1925. And we met in primary, worked together. He was a very eloquent person in everything. He was very proud of himself as a governor. And he was somebody who led the Young People's Party in the 1968 elections. And we won 15 seats. And we came together and worked together with other parties, like the Ghana Congress Party, like other small parties who came together to form the United Party. And eventually we climaxed as the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
So, Dombo we had the opportunity to Busia, but only when we wanted somebody to visit us to Britain, to talk to the British government about the role of the North in the new government that was going to be settled in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
And Dombo was a key. When we were elected in 64, we went to Parliament, we formed the official opposition. The state government stood in to help us because Nkrumah didn't like the government party to be an official opposition. He said, well, we are listening to a small body. But we said, okay, governors are not only those who are residents in the north. We have governors in the cocoa farms. We have governors in the mining country, gold mines. We have in the Gamma mine, all the places where money was being made for the development of the nation. They are all south and they were all manned by government. So we only that. It was a very good case, and the governor accepted us as the official opposition. That is why we left the party. And then eventually, again, his connection with South Dakota in Ashanti came together, and we helped the Ashanti to form the Ashanti group of politicians into one group called they used to call it a brotherhood. When they themselves to do how they came together and work with us, got themselves united with us, and eventually we all became the United Party.
Okay, that is so beautiful, sir. Okay, that is so beautiful, sir. Sir, briefly, this is the final question I will ask. There is so much talk about the personal traits of Chief Dombo, and one thing that keeps reverberating is that he was a very humble man. So beyond his humility, if you had the opportunity to mention 3 other words that underpinned who he really was and for the young people of this country to learn from, what would those words be?
The Dombo was a very kind, very realistic justice. And he was a fearless fighter, if I will put it literally in English. He was a fearless fighter for the rights of himself, for his own rights, for the rights of his nation, and for the rights of the world. Dombo has been kind to all, and we united with other parties to form the United Party, because so that most parts of the country were not enjoying life like those in the cities like Accra, like Masi, like Kukradi, and all these places. So we wanted equality for all, and the two families for it. That is one of his legacies. And unity I think is strong. And when we got the Northern People's Party, he coined the slogan for it, unity. That means the clenched fist. The clenched fist raised up. United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. And that's why we call the Northern People's Party the United Party. And this United Party has worked all the way. Dombo also was a very great person. He felt, he worked all through hard life. You can see, his father was a king when the father died. He contested for the presidency and got it. He was also a businessman, a transport owner, a merchant, everything, and he grew up a democratically grew up young man who was chaired for election to become the president eventually.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, Siki Tedam, and so much stamina, even though advanced in age. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. And words we are supposed to remember Chief Dombo for steadfastness, unity, realism, and kindness. Thank you so much, sir. C.K. Tedam is the chairman of the Council of Elders of the ruling MPP and a former member of parliament in the government of Professor K. Busia and a colleague of Chief Dombo. Thank you so much, sir, for making time. And Sam, we are beginning to wrap up. It is said, when all is said, what gets done? We can't sing praises on Chief Dombo and just do nothing to revive its legacy. You have something lined up for the 6th of December. What are the events?
Yeah, we are going to have a program on the 6th of December at the International Conference Center here in Accra at 3 p.m., which will be graced by His Excellency the President, Nana Danquah. This is we're going to unveil the legacy of Chief Dombo, what he stood for, what he did, the history that Mr. Tedem and Mr. Kwatin
have shared,
whatever literature that we all read, the grandsons and daughters of the children of Chief Dombo will be there. Then also we're going to launch a foundation, the Dombo Foundation for Development and Leadership Studies, the same day. We invited lots of personalities, the high crop of the MPP and the UP tradition, other political activists will also be there. The general public is also invited. That's on the 6th of December. That's next week Thursday at the International Conference Center. We not only to elegize him, but to make the world see who Chief Dombo was and what he stood for and what he did for humanity, especially the Ghanaian community, and very much especially the people of the Busia area.
Sam, I'm not a fan of the balkanization of politics. I don't like it when we accentuate people's northernness or their southernness or wherever they come from. But from listening to the senior citizens, this was a man who had the north at heart. And he represented the ideology your government stands for now. In his memory, apart from the foundation, are there any groundbreaking initiatives government would want to set in motion to make life better for the people of the North?
You see, when you talk about government, we're looking at this program. It's not a government program. Your government is now for all of Ghana. This program is a program by the Dombo family and the New Patriotic Party and some interested persons who want to after that. I've already told you about the Danquah tradition or foundation. That yesterday the president was in Chebi to commission a huge building in his memory where you have ICT and the rest. That two centers and other recreational facilities that will benefit to the people of the Abokwa traditional area, and to Ghanaians, if I'm happy to be there, I can utilize those facilities. It's not about government. When you look at the government now, all developmental programs are shared equally. So the people of the Northern region are receiving a fair share of what they are supposed to have. That is the agenda of the NPP administration. But as a foundation, they're going to look at especially people who are from that part of the country, apart from others from other sections of the country. So all of these are to be in his memory. We're also going to have other programs in his hometown to commemorate his as a legend there. So we're not going to skew the arrangement to favor a particular ethnic group, but that because of what he stood for, somebody wanted all to be united. Somebody felt that yes, there were some people that needed to be helped. So whatever foundation, whatever arrangement that we have, it's for the people of Ghana and especially the people of the Upper West region.
And Sam, finally, you weren't a contemporary of Dombo. Those who were his contemporaries are octogenarians hitting their 90th birthdays. In closing, Sam, based on your reading, the oral tradition within your party, the things you've heard about him, what do you think the takeaway should be for young people about the life and legacy of Chief Dombo?
My father told me something before his death, that in politics, the most important thing and the most gracious thing is to leave the scene with your integrity intact. And that is exactly what we see about Chief Dombo, about Dr. Busia, about JB Danquah, and a lot and a host. So if the young ones that are now, if you want to have names like that, let's forget about the riches and the shortcuts that we use in enriching ourselves through politics, and be dedicated and patriotic to the cause of the country. And after that, you, the dead, don't go to sing your song. The living will sing good verses for you. They will write eulogizing you, and they wouldn't sing dirges for you.
Okay, that is so beautiful. On this powerful note, we call it a day. The program is coming off on the 6th of December at the Accra International Conference Center. It will be, the guest of honor is going to be His Excellency the President, and it will start at exactly 3 p.m. You can't just afford to miss such an important program. We had in the studios Shanti Region Secretary of the ruling MPP, Mr. Sampine. So we come your way next week with another edition of The Issues. Stay blessed and keep watching GTV. Do have a good day.